to you for joining us. Now, what's your own reading of the situation at hand?
Can you come again, please?
Yeah, I'm asking of, I'm sure by now you also have a certain intel about what happened in Togo, the Togo-Burkina border, that really has a tendency of also affecting the Ghanaian community along the border. And I'm asking, what's your own reading of what really happened on that borderline?
I've spoken with some contacts, not just in Ghana, but in Togo. And it's very consistent with what Elias has indicated. This is a cross-border attack. And it's not exclusive to Togo, and it's not the first time. Indeed, just about some 3 days ago, there was a statement from the Defense Ministry of Niger indicating that a number of their soldiers were also killed during an operation between Niger and Burkina Faso. Okay. So it is safe to say that Burkina Faso is the haven for all of these terrorist groups, especially Jamaat Nusra and Islami wal Muslimin. That is responsible for a lot of the attacks in Burkina Faso, in Mali, in Niger, and of course in Togo. Like I indicated, it's not the first time. There's been a lot of operations within that area, but I don't think that has been enough to disincentivize the terrorists from staging these sort of attacks. That is very similar to other terrorist groups. I mean, when you take a closer look at the modus operandi of Al-Shabaab in Somalia, they besiege a military base with all the firepower you can imagine. They overrun it and they seize a lot of the military hardware. Similar techniques was used in the attack at the Cabo Delgado province in Mozambique. And a lot of other terrorist groups have used similar techniques in other countries. But I'm particularly concerned about how disunited ECOWAS is, particularly also the initiatives such as Accra Initiative, with the formation of the Sahel Alliance between Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger. It has disjointed our efforts towards curbing the spirit of jihadism within the sub-region. And I've always indicated that the more disunited we are, the more strengthened these terrorists become. And according to the Global Terrorism Index, about 2 years ago, Burkina Faso is the second most impacted country by terrorism globally. And the region accounts for almost half of all terrorist attacks globally. So surely it is a matter of grave concern, especially for countries such as Ghana.
Okay. Now, you mentioned that whilst we have a disunited front, it makes our fight against jihadists quite porous. If our leaders know this, why are we not trying to patch up to ensure that we present a united front to win this fight?
Well, it's a challenge, my brother. And I'm, as a close watcher of terrorist movements and someone who has been very participative so far as a lot of these initiatives is concerned, I am very worried about the number of initiatives we have. We have the Joint Task Force, MINUSMA, Accra Initiative. We have a whole lot of other ones that's splintered in nature and everybody asking for money from everywhere, all right? So if we are able to come together under one umbrella, so everything would be synergized, okay, I think would be winning the war. Unfortunately, this has also become business. I mean, unfortunate for some people who would easily run to the West, especially EU, US, we are under attack, we need money, okay? And I think that is where the problem is. So I would expect also the Americans, the Europeans, to tell our leaders, look, put your acts together, come together under a single umbrella, then we are willing to support. But if you support this, you support that, it's not synergized in any way. But the hope for us was the Accra Initiative, okay? Unfortunately, with the formation of the Sahel Alliance and because of the lack of trust between these members of the Sahel Alliance and other ECOWAS countries, it is a matter of grave concern, coupled with the military takeovers, okay? So until we are able to bring all of these countries together and find a common solution to our differences, these terrorists would continue being on the offensive. And you cannot run away from the fact that they are targeting everybody, and Ghana, of course, is not excluded.
This must be a worrying situation for all of us, on the continent, especially sub-Saharan Africa at this moment. Where do we start from?
Okay, let me tell you the full facts of the matter. Okay, our approach, I must say confidently, without mincing words, is not working. Look, I have been very much part of parcel of this. We have attended a lot of international conferences. The last one was I think last year, when we had people from all across West Africa and beyond coming together in Accra at the conference center. The CSOs met. We deliberated. I made input, which was captured in the final communique. Then the heads of states came to adopt it. But let me tell you that our approach is not working because it's been so militarized. And when you look at the movements of terrorists and the incidents of terrorism in 2016 and compare it to date, you realize that the terrorists are winning. You cannot run away from it. So what we are saying is, and as the executive director of the Chetike Center for Human Security and Peace Building, we are advocating for human security to be upheld as a comprehensive framework to deal with the myriad of security challenges we face, okay? So issues of marginalization. In Ghana, there are concerns about our treatment of the Fulbeats. Just about 2 weeks ago, had it not been the timely intervention of the IGP, Dr. Dampari, lives would have been lost in Pandai when the community attacked the palace of the Fulani chief. There was over a 90-year-old woman and a toddler who couldn't escape. But the police I was on phone with the IGP, 12 midnight. He was coordinating his commanders on the ground who intervened and saved these individuals. Unfortunately, however, the palace was not safe. It was burnt, okay? Recent incidents involving more injustices against Fulanis is a worrying phenomenon that needs to be addressed. Issues of youth unemployment. According to the Ghana Statistical Service, close to 2 million people are idle in the country. And, idle hands become very dangerous because these people approach them online with all manner of incentives, and they quickly jump onto the bandwagon. When people don't have access to basic necessities of life, water, access to sanitation services, access to healthcare, no shelter, they have a lot more to die for than to live for. That is why the Human Security Directorate at the National Security Ministry is very important, okay, in addressing some of these structural issues, which I, in my opinion, think is more sustainable rather than focusing all our strength towards Humvees, armored personnel carriers, and the rest, cannons. No, I don't think that is the solution. In as much as it is important because it shows force, I think the most important way to handle this is to ensure that the humans are developed.
But I mean, in this moment in time, if you're looking at humans being developed, maybe we don't have enough time because it looks almost certain that we are close. If you look at how the security is preparing to respond, you've spoken about militarizing the response, but do you think we are well prepared to deal with this as a country?
Of course, I do know a lot is happening. However, intelligence is not like a football match, so you don't have live commentary. So it's not everything the national security will tell us, but a lot of work is happening. However, there are some concerns because in the past, some arrests have been made. Some individuals have been killed in combat in Burkina Faso, only for us to realize later they had access to Ghana. Our borders still remain a major challenge. To what extent have we leveraged technology, such as drone technology, to keep tab of individuals who come in and go out of the country? Besides, when you go to the border towns, there's no difference between Ghana and Burkina Faso or Ghana and Togo. People live in Ghana, they work in Togo, and vice versa. So how do we deal with it? The intelligence gathering agencies, how are they able to progressively collaborate with the local communities, especially through their chiefs, opinion leaders, and identifiable groups, to get them to be very much part and parcel of that process is also another issue. Civil society, the National Security Ministry, to what extent has it involved civil society in this advocacy process? Because we keep talking about see something, say something. Then you go out there and ask people, hey, what is it you have to see to say? And for us at the Center for Security, we at a point went out to speak, to gather some information about what exactly people need to see. And believe it or not, some said they were looking for bearded people because they suspect they are the terrorists. So that should tell you the level of ignorance about all of these. And so we came out with a list of exactly what are some of the things you need to look out for. And I must say, it helped. But if there's deeper collaboration between civil society and the National Security Ministry, I think we should be able to get a lot more Ghanaians to be very conscious of their environment. We should get landlords to at least do some verification before giving out their rooms or apartments to strangers. The community level, what do you need to look out for? Some new people have come to the community. They are buying a lot of food. They are putting it in a truck. They are taking it elsewhere. Where are they taking it to? They come, they buy a lot of fertilizer and all that. So I think with education, it would also help. But I must say, a good job has been done, but there's no room for complacency. There's still a lot more to do.
Okay. So if I get up today that I'm going to, a market center, places where, because we know that places where people do gather become easy target, I should not be afraid because, the defense or the security setup has my back covered.
No, not completely. Maybe 90%, but you also have to do the 10%. I'm concerned about public spaces in Ghana. When you go to the mall, there's no security check, nothing. I mean, countries such as Kenya, maybe because they have suffered terrorist attacks before, they take it much more seriously, okay? There's no metal detector checks. You go in, you come out, it's an easy target. For some hotels, they do some security checks, but it's not very comprehensive because they want to save time. They don't want to have a long queue. We can use technology that will be able to tell maybe there's a gunpowder related item in the vehicle, whether it's an explosive or bullets, okay? But generally, as Ghanaians, we need to maintain some level of situational, environmental, and personal awareness always, okay? If you see an individual taking pictures of sensitive locations, such as the Jubilee House, such as military infrastructure, secretly, you need to ask questions about it. And sometimes terrorists also engage in dry runs. I mean, they can pretend to bump into the studios of multimedia just so to gather information. When you catch him, then you go like, oh, sorry, I think I was going to the next building, then I came into your building. We have relatives who, when they become radicalized, they change. I mean, they don't want to watch TV again. They don't want any sort of entertainment. They go like, hey, everything about this is worldly. Join us. Let us do this and do that. These are people who live with us. Okay. And we should be able to be confident enough to report some of these actions. So you and I have a very important role to play. And I'm particularly excited we are discussing this because it is invariably part of multimedia's commitment to ensuring that the citizenry is informed about some of these issues.
So it means that the see something, say something is still something that we should, keep an eye for. But you said something about the public not being aware, and that you should be aware of your environment. But are there critical things that we should be making the public aware, such that when they see something, they can actually decide that this is probably something I need to report, or this one I just need to close my eyes to it?
Absolutely. There are a lot of these things we cataloged in the past. I think the see something, say something is somewhat vague. All right. We tell people or if you see something, then you have to talk about it. But the question is, what exactly do people need to see? My grandmother in the village, how do I make her understand, all right, what exactly they need to see? So first, like I indicated, when, for example, I mean, this is quite basic. When you see a bag at a marketplace, okay, or at a public place, so to speak, unattended to, don't go pick it up. Okay. Just call the authorities, okay? Maybe it could be an improvised explosive device, all right? So if you see a bag that is unattended to, you need to say something. When maybe your work is very much related to the markets, you're selling, and these individuals you don't know come to buy large quantities of food. You don't know them to be suppliers, but they are buying it. They are taking it somewhere you don't understand. You need to ask questions. In some cases, they even buy fuel. There's this story about a driver who was contacted to supply fuel. He never knew he was supplying fuel to the jihadists. And that's exactly what they got him to do. Okay. When someone comes to buy large quantities of potassium nitrates, okay, fertilizer, he's not a farmer. They just acquire large quantities. And we are taking it to Burkina Faso, we are taking it to Mali. You need to ask questions because Ghana, according to sources, has become a logistics hub for some of these terrorists, because not once, not twice, trucks impounded in Burkina Faso reveal after investigation that they had come from Ghana. In fact, there's also been reports of improvised explosive devices going off, an investigation revealing that the cable came from a cable company in Ghana. So all of these is something we need to ask questions about and to let the authorities know. When some individuals, you don't know, they come to rent a big house in your community, they don't come out during the day, they drive unregistered vehicles. They only move at night. You don't know what they are up to. They don't bring out their trash. They don't allow anyone into the compound. You have reasons to ask questions. But Ghana, we are becoming like the West. But I think the West is now better than us because we go like, it's not my business.
Yeah, get it. I'm grateful to you, Adib, for joining us. Adib Sani is a security analyst.